Say to the ancestors.
Don't get the one.
Now, was leprosy a sign? As a sign, one of the signs that the Creator empowered Moses to perform to prove to the Israelites that the Creator had sent him involved leprosy. As instructed, Moses struck his hand into his upper fold of his garment, and upon his withdrawing it, his hand was stricken with leprosy like snow. It was restored like the rest of his flesh. By his returning to his upper fold of the garment and withdrawing it once again, as in Exodus 4, 6, and 7, Miriam was stricken with leprosy as white as snow, as the divine act, because she spoke against Moses. He begged God, or he begged the Creator to heal her, which was done, but she was quarantined outside the camp for 7 days. Is whiteness a sign? One more that a lot of people never talk about. He had become the worshiper of the Creator. However, Elisha attended Gehazi, greedily acquired a gift from Naaman in the prophet's name, thus misrepresenting his master, and in effect making the undeserved kindness of the Creator a means of material gain. For his misdeeds, Gehazi was stricken with leprosy and became a leper white as snow. But let me read you something also about Gehazi. If you want to follow with me, it's 2 Kings, right? 2 Kings, chapter 5, verse 20, and we're going to read 27. Just follow along with me. Then Gehazi, the attendant of Elisha, the man of the true Creator, said, "Here my master has spared Naaman this Syrian by not accepting from his hand what he bought. As the Creator is living, I will run after him and take something from him." And Gehazi went chasing after Naaman. When Naaman saw someone running after him, he at once got down from his chariot to meet him, and then said, "Is all well?" To this he said, "All is well. My master himself has sent me, saying, Look, you now there have come to me 2 young men from the mountain regions of Ephraim, from the sons of the prophets. Do give them, please, a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments." At that, Naaman said, "Go on, take 2 talents. And he kept urging him, and finally bound up 2 talents of silver in 2 bags, and with 2 changes of garment, and gave them to the 2 attendants, and that they might carry them before him. And when he came to Ophel, he immediately took them from their hand and deposited them into the house and sent them away. So off they went. And he himself came in and there stood by his master. Elisha now said to him, "Where did you come from, Gehazi?" But he said, "Your servant did not go anywhere at all." At that he said to him, "Did my heart itself go along just as the man turned to get down off his chariot to meet you? Is it a time to accept silver, or to accept garment, or olive groves, or vineyards, or sheep, or cattle, or men servants, or maiden servants? So the leprosy of Naaman will stick to you and your offspring to time indefinite." Immediately he went out from before him, a leper white as snow. Now, Gehazi got that, but it says something clearly, his offsprings to time indefinite. The curse of Gehazi. So, is whiteness a sign? So, when the Creator banished Cain from the garden, he made him white. He turned him white. That was the sign that everybody would see, that everybody would recognize. You cannot hide from that. It can be seen. You cannot hide when you white. It's like being the only black person amongst all white people. You can't hide. You can't hide. Look in the mirror. There you are. So the sign that was put on Cain was he was white. Alright? That's what happened to him. He became white. There was a sister named McGee Livers. She has that in her documentation. Now, that was the sign that was given. It was not a literal sign. It was a visual sign. Now, what's funny is I hear people always say, right, when they talk about the flood, they always talk about Noah and his 3 sons, right? Noah and his 3 sons. As it started off with Noah. But it didn't start with Noah. It didn't start with Noah. Noah is the continuance. If you take what it says, he just continued because a new seed had been already given. That was going to be a promised seed. But in Christendom, they make that first prophecy to mean that it's supposed to be Jesus. But just after that, Seth is being born. And it's supposed to be Seth's line that is going to establish this spiritual creator, line of descent. Now, remember I just told you that Cain, right, has been given a sign, right? Cain was given a sign, and after he was banished, and then the Creator set the sign in order that no one would find him, would strike him, Cain went away from the face of the Creator and took up a residence in the land of fugitives to the east of Eden. And afterward Cain had intercourse with his wife, which was his twin, and she became pregnant and gave him Enoch. She gave the birth Enoch. Now Cain is birthing Enoch? Follow this. This is in Genesis chapter 4, verses 17. I'm on verse 18 now. Well, I started 17 again. Afterward, Cain had intercourse with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Then he engaged in building a city and called the city named by the name of his son, Enoch. Later there was born to Enoch Irad, and Irad became father to Mehuliel. And Mehuliel became the father of Methuselah, and Methuselah became the father to Lamech. And Lamech proceeded to take 2 wives from Ada for himself. The name of the first was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. In time Ada gave birth to Jabal, and he proved to be the founder of those who dwell in the tents and have livestock. And the name of his brother was Jubal. He proved to be the founder of all those who handled the harp and the pipe. As for Zillah, she too gave birth to Tubal-Cain, the forger of every sort of tool of copper and iron, and his sister Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Consequently, Lamech composed these words for his wives Ada and Zillah. Now, is this Lamech the same father that's going to birth Noah? Is Cain the father really of Enoch? Huh? Let's find out. Go to the book of Jasher. And we got Enosh is born. Right? We're going to start from Seth. Now, see, this is going to be a little reading. And I know some people, you're not cool with the reading aspect of it. But if you're going to learn, you got to know where it's coming from. And I'm doing all the work for you, so all you have to do is just be attentive and listen. And Seth lived 105 years, and he begat a son. And Seth called his name of his son Enosh, saying, because in that time the sons of men began to multiply, and to afflict their souls and heart by transgressing and rebelling against the Creator. And it was in the days of Enosh that the sons of the men continued to rebel and transgress against the Creator, to increase the anger of the Creator against the sons of men. And the sons of men went and they served other gods, and they forgot the Lord who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of men made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every man made his god, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of men forsook the Lord all the days of Enosh and his children. And the anger of the Lord kindled on account of their works and abomination which they did in the earth. And the Lord caused the waters of the river Gihon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and consumed them, and he destroyed the third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of the Lord. And in those days there were neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of man, and the famine was very great in those days. And in the seed which they sowed in the days in the ground became thorns and thistles and briars. For from the days of Adam was the declaration concerning the earth of the curse of God, which he cursed the earth on account of the sin which Adam sinned before the Lord. And it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against God, and to corrupt their ways, that the earth also became corrupt. And Enosh lived 90 years, and he begat Canaan. And Canaan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise, and he had knowledge and skills and all wisdom. And he reigned over all the sons of men, and he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. And Canaan was very wise, a very wise man, and had understanding in all wisdom. And with his wisdom he ruled over spirits and demons. And Canaan knew by his wisdom that God would destroy the sons of men for having sinned upon the earth, and that the Lord would in the later days bring upon them the waters of the flood. And in those days Canaan wrote upon tablets of stone what was to take place in the time to come, and he put them in his treasures. And Canaan reigned over the whole earth, and he turned some of the sons of men to the service of God. Mahaliah is born, or Mahaliel is born. And when Canaan was 70 years old, he begat 3 sons and 2 daughters. And these are the names of the children of Canaan. The name of the firstborn is Mahaliel, the second Enon, and the third Mered. And their sisters were Ada and Zillah. These are the 5 children of Canaan that were born to him. And Lamech, the son of Methuselah, became related to Cain by marriage. I'll say it again. And Lamech, the son of Methuselah, became related to Cain by marriage. And he took his 2 daughters for his wife. Ada conceived and bare a son to Lamech, and she called his name Jabal. And she again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Jubal. And Zillah, her sister, were barren in those days, and had no offsprings. For in those days the sons of men began to trespass against the Creator, and to transgress the commandments which he had commanded to Adam, to be fruitful and multiply in the earth. And some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink and drunk, and they would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of men caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them. And the childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands as widows, whilst their husbands lived, for the barren ones only they were attached. And at the end of the days and the years, when Zillah became old, the Lord opened her womb, and she conceived and bare a son, and called his name Tubal-Cain, saying, If I had withered away, have I obtained from the Almighty Creator? And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and she called her name Naamah, for she said, After I had withered away, have I obtained pleasure and delight? And Lamech was old in advancing years, and his eyes were dim, and that he could not see. Tubal-Cain, his son, was leading him, and it was one day that Lamech went into the field, and Tubal-Cain, his son, was with him. And whilst they were walking in the field, Cain, the son of Adam, advanced towards them. For Lamech was very old and could not see much, and Tubal-Cain, his son, was very young. And Tubal-Cain told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrow he smote Cain, who was yet far off, and he slew him, for he appeared to be an animal. And the arrow entered Cain's body, although he was distant from them, and he fell to the ground and died. And the Lord requited Cain's evil according to his wickedness, which he had done to his brother Abel, according to the word of the Lord which he had spoken. And it came to pass, when Cain had died, that Lamech and Tubal went to see the animal which they had slain. And they saw, and behold, Cain, their grandfather, was fallen dead upon the earth. And Lamech was very much grieved at having done this. And in the clapping his hands together, he struck his son and caused his death. And the wives of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to kill him. And the wives of Lamech hated him from that day, because he slew Cain and Tubal-Cain. And the wives of Lamech separated from him, and would not hearken to him in those days. And Lamech came to his wife, and he pressed them to listen to him about this matter. And he said to his wives Ada and Zillah, Hear my voice, O wives of Lamech, attend to my words, for now you have imagined and said that I slew a man with my wounds, and a child with my stripes, for having done no violence. But surely know that I am old and gray-headed, and that my eyes are heavy through age, and I did this unknowingly. And the wives of Lamech listened to him in this matter, and they returned to him with the advice of their father Adam, but they bore no children to him from that time, knowing that God's anger was increasing in those days against the sons of men, to destroy them with the waters of the flood for their evil doing. Mahaliah, the son of Canaan, lived 65 years and begat Jared. Jared lived 62 years and begat Enoch. Is this another Enoch? Wait a minute. Cain, the one that just got killed, the grandfather, who just got smoked by his grandson, had a child that we read back there, said Cain had birthed Enoch. Now, Cain's dead. Jared is born. Now, and Mahaliah and Canaan and Jared is being born through Cain, and now he's begetting Enoch. Okay? Gotta follow this, man. And Enoch lived 65 years, and he begat Methuselah. Now, the other way, when we went back with Cain, it was Enoch birth, it was Methuselah or Mahaliah or Methuselah birthing Enoch. But then, all right, follow with me. Follow with me. And Enoch lived 65 years and he begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after having begot Methuselah. And he served the Lord and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. And it was in the expiration of many years, whilst he was serving the Lord and praying before him in the house, that an angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said to him, Here I am. And he said, Rise, go forth from thy house and from thy place where thou dost hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou mayest teach them the ways in which thou shalt go, and the works which they must accomplish to enter into the ways of God. And Enoch rose according to the word of the Lord, and went from his house, from his place, and from the chambers in which he concealed. And he went to the sons of men, and taught them the ways of the Lord. And at that time assembled the sons of men, and acquainted them with the instructions of the Lord. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord and good works? Let him come to Enoch. And all the sons of men then assembled to him, and from all who desired this thing went to Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of the Lord. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his words. And the Spirit of God was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men in the wisdoms of God and his ways. And the sons of men served the Lord of all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. All the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdoms, and they bowed down to him, and they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings, princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, the ways of the Lord, and he made peace among them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of the Lord. And these are the generations of Enoch: Methuselah, Elish, Elimelech, 3 sons, and his daughters were Milcah, Naamah, and Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begat Lamech. Here's Lamech again. Okay, Lamech is back. And it was 56 years of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years was he at his death. And his 2 sons, with Enoch and Methuselah his son, buried him with great pomp at the burial of kings in the cave which God had told him. And in that place all the sons of men had made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, and he and his children after him, as the Lord God had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was the 243 years of the reign of Enoch. In that time Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, and to secret himself at first in order to serve the Lord. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And that during the 3 days he was in his chambers, he prayed to and praised the Lord his God. In the days of which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of the Lord, and all they asked him about the Lord he told them. He did in the manner for many years, and he afterwards concealed himself for 6 days, and appeared to his people 1 day in 7, and after that once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the king, princes, and sons of men sought for him, and desired again to see the face of Enoch, and to hear his words. But they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on the account of the godlike all that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at time when he should come forth amongst them. And they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them the words of the Lord. He taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, "May the king live, may the king live." And then sometime after, when the king and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them in the ways of God, behold, an angel of the Lord then called upon Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him to heaven, to make him reign over the sons of gods, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon earth. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he had said to them, "I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now therefore I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon the earth, whereby you may live." And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them the instructions, and he reproved them, and he placed before them statutes and judgments to be upon the earth, and he made peace among them, and he taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them some time, teaching them all these things. And at that time the sons of men were with Enoch. And Enoch was speaking to them, and they lifted up their eyes, in the likeness of a great horse descended from heaven. And the horse paced in the air. And they told Enoch what they had seen. And Enoch said to them, on my account does this horse descend upon earth? The time is come when I must go from you, and I shall be no more seen by you. And the horse descended at the time and stood before Enoch. And all the sons of men that were with him, Enoch saw him. And Enoch then ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, where is the man who delighted to know the ways of the Lord his God? Let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day. All the kings of the earth with the princes and councils remained with him that day. And Enoch then told the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he bade them serve the Lord, walk in his ways all the days of their lives, and he continued to make peace among them. And it was after this that he rose and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of the men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. And the second day he sent them, return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day some of the men remained and clung to him, and they said to him, we will go with thee to the place thou goest. As the Lord liveth, death only shall separate us. And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them, and they went after him and would not return. And when the king returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of the remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day of all the kings that had been with Enoch sent bring forth back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow, and one side to be other. Come, let us break through the snow and see. Perhaps the men that remain with Enoch are dead, and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. Alright, so now you got a little background of Enoch. If you read in the Bible, you just get, he was a righteous, one of the great cloud of witness, lived 365 years, and he went up. You don't get a background that he ruled and the people allowed him to rule, and he had all the knowledge and wisdom. Now, why did I go through all that? Well, I'm setting it up. Because you have some people who are being indoctrinated and who are using a particular publication and saying that the book that they're using was given directly to them by God, and that during the time of famine, when they was in a particular place, their ancestor was in a particular place that was in famine, and he came to, he was called through a vision to proceed to go to another location, which he did, and he does. And it was said that I heard in the video that Abraham came because he knew mathematics to teach them a different way, But the problem and the reason why I'm stating about the Enoch part here is, one, there's a contradiction here. Cain, as being the one with the sign, is saying, they saying that Cain had birthed Enoch. It is Enoch seed who is going to replenish. But if you read in the book of Joshua, it says that Noah's birth is an apostasy. The apostasy is that there's something that is going to bring a defection in the process here. in this defection, this is why you're going to see why a certain of the sons, one is going to be outcast. But see, somebody don't seem to be talking about this. They try to leave that aspect out as if that you got one people said that the curse was they became black. Another one said that process that they became red, which meant they was white. Well, in order for that to be substantiated, you understand, if you're going to make that claim or to try to prove that point, you have to show where that is deriving from. And to say that, well, when they seen the father nakedness and cursed be the Canaan, does not solidify it, because if you read in the scripture, and I'll go to the scripture to show you, when Noah says it, does it necessarily mean that it's going to happen if God does not ordain it? What gave Noah the power to be able to do that? How can he just say curse be and it happens? You feel what I'm saying? So there was no scripture following that said that and the Creator validated it. What gives Noah the power to validate anything in like that? Because when you heard the Gehazi, when you seen with Moses and Miriam, the only one that could pronounce that kind of let's say curse, or to make something drastic to change like that, it would have to be the Creator has to ordain it. But no one is proving that, right? They can't prove that. But Enoch, and the reason why a lot of people leave Enoch out, and especially those people in the institution who want to say that the African got nothing to do with it, and we are not Africans, because Enoch it is proven that Enoch was an Ethiopian. And if Enoch is an Ethiopian, which is Lower Egypt, then the knowledge and wisdom that Enoch gave to his children and to his people, this is how you end up doing what? Building the northeast corner in Egypt.